This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're going to look at the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Leech figure, the evil master of power suction, part of the Filmation cartoon collection. If we turn around the box, we see images from Into Etheria, which I want to say based on this image, it certainly looks like this is part of the movie, or as I recall, the first 3 episodes of the movie were turned into the first 3 episodes of She-Ra. First 3 episodes of the movie. The movie was turned into the first 3 episodes of She-Ra is what I should say. So this is showing Adora holding the weapon that this version of Leech comes with. As Leech tries to suck... As Leech sucks on Bo, at least he's not sucking on Bo's bow, if you know what I mean. Montana there in the back, and of course we have Scorpia, who, since I am thinking that this is all we're going to get from this line of toys, since I think this line of toys is pretty much over, we will probably not see her made in this collection, which is sad. Of course, hands and feet stick to smooth surfaces, which we'll try doing that on the plastic when the time comes. Unfortunately, they don't tell us what that gun is supposed to be. As part of this wave, we of course had Fakor, the evil robotic Skeletor, Leech, the evil master of power suction, and Catra, the jealous beauty. And Catra was hot. I mean, she was definitely hot. And I love that voice for her. But let's go ahead and open this sucker up, shall we? Sucker literally in this case. All right, so, whoops. Let's take a look at the white sheet here. Just show all the parts that comes off of him. No big deal. Everything as expected. Then we have the comic Onslaught to Snake Mountain, which has this horrible anorexic-looking version of Catra on the cover of it. Sometimes, man, the artwork that they did was just terrible in this series. I'm not a fan of this artist at all. So as we open this up, we must remember that Hordak was in the process of trying to take over Eternia. He was using his slime pit on the different peoples of Eternia, transforming them into his slime minions. We do get to see both some Horde Wraiths and some kind of Horde Knight with him. We have a nice little group shot here where we get to see Catra and Leech both in this panel fighting against... Wait, are they the Masters of the Universe in front of Snake Mountain? Yes, apparently the Masters of the Universe are trying to defend Snake Mountain and Skeletor. A big-ass fight ensues. So big, we had to use a double-page spread for it. Where we get to see Hordak on the Mantisaur, our anorexic Catra with a whip that actually came with the Classics Catra, not this one. Multibot, He-Man, looks like it's Clamp Champ in the back there, Leech, Quick Draw McGraw, some weird version of Man-at-Arms, Tila, and something going Gluck. Seriously, I cannot remember the one guy's name right now. It's kind of sad. Real Blast. It was Real Blast. Okay, so anyway, while we see the fights going on here, the weapons are starting to malfunction because they're using too much. You know, a lot of the equipment that they're using in this is actually from the toy line. Well, obviously from the toy line, but I mean, like the Stilt Stalker and stuff like that, you know? Jet Sled. I don't remember what the other one was called. Sorry. If you remember, please let me know. And that would be this thing here, which is just like just a battle thing that goes on him. But we see the first victim of this battle on the Master side, and it's Real Blast, where his arm gets blasted off. And this apparently lets them know that these are all robots, which is kind of funny because Real Blast is the one character that probably could have had an entirely metallic arm, considering what his power is, and then he's probably half cyborg. But Faker's eyes do that little glowing thing, or at least they turn bright white and not really glowing because the artist didn't do the glow around them. We do get to see Catra, however, killing the robotic Tila, and generally speaking, we just see Faker makes a run for it, actually, as well as the rest of Skeletor's minions who abandon him in his time of need. And that's our mini-comic. If you want to torture yourself with a dramatic reading, you can see my Catra review video. Alright, that being said, we have the gun right here that he comes with, which is kind of interesting because you can fold the handle up into the gun like that, because that clips onto his arm since he doesn't have hands. Or you can slide it right back out for any other figure to wield, which would be that image we saw on the back with Adora, who we also did not get in the cartoon collection. I am pretty annoyed that there's this gunk on him. But at least it's wiping away. Leech here does appear to be using the same suction cup hands and feet that the original, the original Origins version had. So that's pretty much expected. It is kind of interesting though when you get right down to it, because Leech here was sold as a regular figure, whereupon the previous version for Origins was sold as a deluxe. As far as the suction cups go, it does actually work. Whoops, on the vinyl backing here. But yeah, it's pretty good suction there. Okay. Okay. Thankfully, each one's got the little tab thing there to help you pull it off, so that works out well. But again, this Leech actually has a whole new body sculpt here, which is cool. The previous Leech did also, but he also had a bigger torso too, because he was wider. So let's talk about the articulation here. No articulation in the mouth. Oh, actually. Let's take a look at this head sculpt though. I guess I gotta say, as far as this version of Leech goes, he reminds me more of a fish than an actual Leech does. So, to be honest with you, he's less Leech-like to me than the Origins version, even though that one looks kind of like an alligator. Yeah, this one looks like a fish with a big-ass snoz. And they do actually have a defined nose on him, too, by the way. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, he reminds me of a fish more than anything else. Articulation-wise, though, the head is on a ball joint here. We got all that extra room to move it around, so we can do that. We can move it all around. Spin it ahead. Look down a little bit. Look up a little bit. Off to the side. The usual. Hinge the arm up and down. It's actually got a good range, too. I wasn't expecting it to have that well of a range because of this design. We can spin it 360. Unfortunately, that is all paint, as you can see from inside there. We have a single joint at the elbow, and we can spin that around on the peg that holds it in place. The hands just have a spin on it. There is no in and out articulation or up and down with this guy. Waist does a 360 spin. Leg kicks up, leg kicks back, only about that far. Da, 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 da. And he can kick out like this, and whoops. Okay, that's not going to work very well. It is kind of too bad that most displays probably don't have a good place to actually stick him. Knee bends at a 90 there. Opens up that far. Of course, you can spin that because it's got the peg. Spin the foot all around at the boot cut. Spin the foot itself around. Not that it matters. You just kind of want to position it so that the little tabs are somewhere you can reach them when you stick them to stuff. This little gun thingy, though, we can close that up. And we can try to get it on his wrist like that. So as far as the two versions of Leech go, I definitely prefer the one from Origins better than the one from the cartoon collection. I think he looks scarier. He's a big bulkier. And yeah, I mean, the Leech from the cartoon collection isn't bad either, honestly, but he's just not quite as scary looking in my opinion. And both of them have the same problem with the damn legs. It's really hard to get them to stand up properly with those suction cup feet. Because even if you suction cup them to something, it'll eventually release on its own. Or at least so far it has. I guess if I actually put it up on a window, it would be fine, or a mirror. But I'm ugly, so I don't have mirrors around my place. So there's that. But overall, I mean, as far as it goes, it's a pretty good figure. I still prefer the original version, but he's definitely worth the price, especially since he is at regular figure price and not deluxe figure price. especially with the suction cup hands. Usually when there's a gimmick of some sort, they end up being deluxe class, right? Although I guess in the cartoon collection, all the larger figures are being produced a little bit larger and at the deluxe pricing. I feel like I've kind of talked this figure down a bit more, and he really doesn't deserve that because he really is actually a pretty nice looking figure for a fish-headed guy. But why don't you guys let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you did enjoy this review, please feel free to suck on that like button. Oh man. And if you want to hear more of my nonsense in the future, you can subscribe. Go ahead and suck on that notification bell too. Jesus, I'm going to hell. I thank you for watching. Peace and love.